Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today from the Fitchburg Fire Department, a new face to the department, although he's been here a while now, and we're happy to have Mark Mlekush.
Correct.
Well, I kind of skipped it, but Mark, we're going to do a couple things. First and foremost, we got to get to know who you are, but then we are going to work on some fire safety tips coming up here a little bit later in the segment. Mark, you've come with a cool background. You kind of started a career in one area, then moved into fire.
Yeah, so I was in sales long before I was in the fire service, and turns out I was really only mediocre at sales. I did okay, but my real passion is in the fire service, and it turns out that that's where I belong. So I quickly realized that and moved on. So this is my second career.
Yeah, and it's quite the career. What is your role officially with the Fitchburg Fire Department?
So with Fitchburg Fire Department, I'm the Division Chief of Inspection, Prevention, and Investigation. So sort of three very different areas, but they do relate sort of internally. With inspections, I head up all of the routine fire inspections. Work with the crews to get out and do those occupancy inspections just to make sure that people are being safe inside of their businesses. Less punitive and more sort of teaching. We like to be consultative when we go out there and help the people in these businesses make their businesses better for both their employees and their patrons.
And we have a lot of new construction here happening too. So it's like you got to keep track of the old, but you're also helping with the new as new things come in. Yeah. and making sure people are protected.
So I work closely with building inspections. As the new buildings come up, I'm involved with some of the features that go into these buildings from design, fire lanes, hydrant access, all those things, up through the systems that are put into the buildings to keep everybody safe. And I stick with the building all the way up until it's granted occupancy, and then it comes back to me as an inspectable property.
And then on the investigation side of things, so something happens, fire, whatever the incident is, what is your role in leading that investigation? So
for the fire department, I'm the lead fire investigator. I also participate on Dane County Fire Chief's task force called MAFIT. MAFIT stands for Multi-Agency Fire Investigation Team. And what we do is per state law, a fire department has to investigate each fire. So within the fire department, I fulfill that role. Investigating means determining where the fire started, first and foremost. And then any factors that we can find that contributed to the fire growth and spread. It's interesting, and we look forward to exploring more of what you do on a regular basis, but the outreach part in this as well ties into what you're doing, and we're looking forward to you coming on here and telling us some fire safety tips that go right along with your daily tasks. Yeah, so the fire codes are there for their code minimums. Mm-hmm. I want to throw that out there. But they exist to help businesses or occupancies find that minimal level of safety. Fire investigations teach us a whole lot about where the fires start, so it gives us a lead into the educational part. Fire investigations also tend to lend themselves to code development. Right? All of our fire codes are born from some tragedy down the road that was discovered via a fire investigation. I prefer to use it as a lead into what are areas of concern when we do have a fire, right? How do these fires start? Where do they start? What could we have done to stop them? Yeah. And so making that transition today on a fire safety tip, we're going to talk about cooking fires. According to the NFPA, it reports during 2017 through 2021, cooking fires were the leading cause of reported home fires and home fire injuries, and the second leading cause of home fire deaths. Pretty startling. Yeah, startling and preventable, unfortunately. All of these fires could have been prevented, but cooking fires do represent the majority of fires that not just Fitchburg Fire Department sees, but fire departments across the country.
So let's dive in just a little bit on kind of the background of where, when we're talking about cooking fires, what do you see as the most reason that they start? Is it not understanding of the equipment? Is it I'm tired? Is it, I'm sure it's multi-factored, but what's that leading cause?
So there is no one cause, but one that jumps out and is more prevalent than others is unattended. So people start to cook, they tend to wander off and do other things in the house while their food is cooking, and they're not there to attend that cooking and make sure that nothing bad happens.
I see too that falling asleep leads the trend in human factors as not only is it unattended, but I fell asleep and now fire's happening.
Yeah, so it's quite common for people to fall asleep, and that can be for a number of reasons. Alcohol impairment certainly factors in, but also medications. People who take medications regularly sometimes get drowsy as a result of the medications that they're taking, or the combination of medications that they're taking. And maybe they doze off, and that leaves the cooking unattended in the kitchen, and that's where things happen.
Yeah, and there's a wide variety of other factors too, from injuries as well. So on top of just cooking fires alone, cooking leads to other things here, like deep frying or range top or food warmer, hot plate. All of these things could be factors in.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking through the statistics in the last couple of weeks, I was mildly surprised to find that electric ranges represent more fires than do gas ranges. And most fires start on the range top itself.
And it's interesting because we've had quite a bit of a trend in the last year and a half of finding that gas ones could cause other issues like upper respiratory issues. So there's been more of a push, I think, in recent years to go more of a range versus gas.
Yep, they build them, the manufacturers sort of build them as more safe because you don't have an open flame in your house as you would with a gas range. Without having statistics to back this up, I have an assumption that the range tops don't, because they don't have an open flame, sometimes maybe they don't look like they're hot or they're on. And they get either forgotten or they're assumed to be safer than they are.
I think too, when growing up, we had a range stove, and the only way you knew it was hot was a little tiny light that said surface is hot. Yep. So you're right, you really can't tell. Some of them you see them glow, some, it just varies on what it is, but definitely a thing. Well, as you had mentioned, the cooking fires are 100% preventable, so let's give some safety tips here to start getting people ready to prevent cooking fires from happening. And it kind of does tie, we're going to be in the kitchen more, just with the holidays. It gives way to more possibilities of cooking and potential issues.
Yeah, so very timely. This time of year, the holidays are times where families get together. Cooking is usually a central part of families getting together, and not coincidentally, or maybe I should say coincidentally, they do represent the days of the year where we have the highest incidence of kitchen fires. Thanksgiving is the most likely day for a kitchen fire to occur, followed by Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Easter, and then the day before Thanksgiving, in that order. So the holidays really represent the most dangerous time of the year for kitchen fires, although they do happen all the time.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a year-round thing. So let's start with just a quick couple of things that you could do to help prevent fires or injury.
Yeah, so first and foremost, if you're cooking in the kitchen, stay in the kitchen. It's really simple. Stay right there so that you can see what's happening, make sure that you're monitoring, make sure that you're checking on the things that you're cooking, and making sure that combustibles aren't piled up near the stovetop or oven mitts.
Yep.
Right? Don't set it on the range top, even if it looks like it's cool. When you're doing pots and pans on a range top, whether it's gas or electric, take those handles and turn them in so that they're not sticking out from the stove. especially just using Thanksgiving as an example. We're busy in the kitchen. We're going from this countertop to that countertop, and we're preparing all sorts of different things. As we do that, the last thing we need to do is bump a handle and turn over a skillet that has bacon grease in it or something else that's cooking, right? It prevents scald injuries or burn injuries that way, but it also prevents the possibility of that whatever's being cooked catching fire as it hits the burner or however. If you're able, go out and buy a fire extinguisher and keep it in your kitchen. The best ones to buy are the little ABC type, and what that means is they will manage any type of fire, whether it's paper or wood burning or grease or even electrical. An ABC fire extinguisher is really the way to go because it's an all hazards kind of extinguisher. If you buy an extinguisher, know how to use it. Right? I know lots of people who have them and have no idea how to use them. So there's a really simple acronym to use. It's called PASS. P stands for pull the pin. A stands for aim the nozzle or the hose directly at the fire, the seat of the fire preferably. S stands for squeeze the handles together. And then the second S stands for sweep from side to side. So if you think of a campfire and you're going to use a fire extinguisher on that campfire, you don't want to aim at the flames that are licking up, right? You want to aim at the logs because that's the base of the fire and that's actually what's on fire.
Yeah, great tips, and yeah, you guys do actually own a trainer that you can use to demonstrate that. So you got to come out to the fire prevention days and check that out. But definitely something good to review. Look at the cards. A lot of them come with cards, directions. If you just check that out, just so you know, because in an emergency situation, it's hard to keep those mastery skills when you're in that panic mode.
There's one other tip that goes with fire extinguishers, and I find this in commercial kitchens all the time, but I also find it in classrooms on inspections. I find it in other kitchens, including my own kitchen has been victim of this. When those fire extinguishers, especially if they're mounted to the wall, the handle makes a really good hook for your plastic grocery bag that maybe you throw your aluminum cans in, or an apron that you wear, right? When you do that, it makes that extinguisher harder to get to and use because you've got to take all that stuff off. It typically doesn't come off as quickly as it went on, right? So when you do have an extinguisher, you really want it to be accessible. You can get to it fast and you know how to use it.
Absolutely. All right, Mark, we're out of time, but it doesn't mean that we have to stop people from investigating more in great resources. The Fitchburg Fire Department website at fitchburgwi.gov /fire. You can find some more information there, and people can give you or contact you too with any questions.
Absolutely. I encourage everybody, if you've got questions, reach out to me. I will get you an answer. If I don't know it off the top of my head, I'll research it and get it back to you.
All right. Appreciate your time. Nice meeting you, although we got to meet ahead of time. But welcome to Fitchburg, and looking forward to working with you here on Talking Fitchburg.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to be here.